Hello, welcome and welcome back to my channel. This is Lily Loves Learning, and today we are going to be going over some of the resources that we're going to be using for our American Revolution and Jamestown Colony little mini unit study. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first resource that we're going to be using is Story of the World. So we are in the middle of early modern times, so we'll also be reading from the book, so I'll show a picture of that here. And then we use the activity book that goes along with it. We don't do everything in here, but we usually use some of the questions that are in here, and then map work, and then possibly some of the coloring pictures that are at the end in the activity pages. So this is just like our main history spine, but then when we get to early, like Jamestown and before the American Revolution in the Americas, we're going to take a pause and stop and do our next kind of main spine, which is going to be moving beyond the page, colonization and revolution. So this is going to be the spine for the actual American Revolution unit study. And then the Jamestown part's just a small portion of that. But the resources that go along with that are living in the Jamestown Colony, the New Americas Colonial Times, and then the American Revolution for Kids, a history with 21 activities. So that's the main spine. And we're mostly going to be focusing on the American Revolution, taking a little bit of extra time with that. So the first thing I'll go over for that, once we get to the American Revolution, would be readers for my daughter. So these will be ones that she is reading independently. So we have I Survived the American Revolution. Who Was Alexander Hamilton? We really like the Who Was, What Is, Where Is books. What is the Declaration of Independence? And then the next set will be also readers that my daughter will be doing, but these are the graphic novels. So we have Lafayette, Hazardous Tales. The Spy Who Wore Petticoats, a graphic novel biography of Anna Strong. Agents of Independence, Daring Spies of the American Revolution. And then for the read alouds, I'm going to be deciding between one of these two books. So either the History Smashers, the American Revolution. I have read this one, really liked it. So I haven't been able to read Guts and Glory of the American Revolution yet. So between the two of these, it will be one of those. And then these are fictional read alouds, either My Brother Sam Is Dead or Johnny Tremaine. So it's been a while since I've read these. So I want to go ahead and read both of those beforehand and then choose between the two of those. Because we have a lot of resources. I don't think we need to do both. And then some picture books, ones that we'll be reading together. If You Were a Kid During the American Revolution. Revolutionary Mary, the true story of one woman, the Declaration of Independence, and America's fight for freedom. Revolutionary War, America's War for Independence, a visual history. If You Lived During the American Revolution. And then lastly from this group, we have two that we're going to be using as resources, pulling from these. We may not read them in full, but definitely going to be pulling from them. Forgotten Founders, and then The Constitution Decoded, a guide to the document that shapes our nation. So those are going to be all of the books that we are going to be doing. And then lastly, we are going to have kind of a hands-on activity. Besides what's in the Moving Beyond the Page, there are some hands-on activities from that. Is American History, History Unboxed for the American Revolution. So I'll kind of show you a little bit of what's inside there. So there is a guide inside there, so you can walk through the different activities. And then there are some additional, I don't want to show them all just to, because it's part of the resources. There is a journal of General Washington and then some other resources that go along with that. And then I believe this is for a candle activity. This is a quill and writing on paper, and there's a little ink pad in there, or inkwell. And this looks like it might have to go along with this candle making. And then lastly, tea is included in that package as well. So those are the activities that we're going to be doing. So what I'm going to do now is kind of show you inside of some of those books that I'm using. So if you just wanted to see the resources that we had, that's the completion of that. But I wanted to show you inside a couple of these books because I thought they were really good. And so you can see kind of the general understanding of each one. So I'll kind of work my way backwards since that's kind of how I have the pile. So let me move these ones out of the way. So the first resource is The Constitution Decoded. And this is a very colorful book. So I'll just kind of show you the table of contents. So you can see inside here, it goes through the various articles and then has Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation. There's some vocab, but it's a very colorful book. So you can see inside there, get some information about the different articles, amendments, etc. So that's why we may pull all of them. We may look at some in more detail than others. And then for the Forgotten Founders, so that's a table of contents. It looks like it has 24 groups and then a general More Women of Courage. So either individual people or groups of people for each of the chapters. And then there's a nice illustration on that side. And then the next one is Revolutionary War, America's War for Independence, A Visual History. This is a beautiful book. I wasn't sure I got this from the library. I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to look like, but it does have some key information and then has a beautiful illustration associated with it. So it's not a significant amount of information, but it's really nice to have a visual to go along with different elements. I'll look to see if that one has table of contents. Yeah, so here we go. So this one has the different areas that this one covers in here. If you lived during the American Revolution. And then these are the chapters that are in here. And just to give you an indication of, this is about the size of the lettering. And then there are some pictures, but they're not quite as vibrant as that other book. A scholastic book if you were a kid during the American Revolution. This one's a lot shorter, but this is the table of contents. So this could be also one if you just want to give it to your child to read. There's about what is included inside there. And then Revolutionary Mary. This one does not have a table of contents, but you can see this is about the amount of writing, and there's also a lot of pictures in here, so a great picture book for the American Revolution time frame. These two books, this is chapter books. So this can either be given for your student if you want to have them read it, or if you want to do it as a read aloud. Those are chapter books, not any pictures in those. These two books, The History Smashers and Guts and Glory. There's the contents in there. You can see it's a couple hundred pages. And then this one is a variety of, it's got some graphic novel pages, not in color, but then it also has chapters with just writing and just a few pictures. So that one includes a variety. And then Guts and Glory, The American Revolution. Here's the contents in here. It's a little bit longer at almost 300 pages for the majority of the book. This one has a few pictures in black and white, but most of it is chapter reading for that one as well. So that one, again, we're going to be doing read alouds for that. And then we have Agents of Independence. It's 6 different stories. So here's the table of contents. And then this is a graphic novel. The Spy Who Wore Petticoats. This is a graphic novel of Anna Strong. Here is the table of contents. Then as you can see, it's in color and a graphic novel. The Hazardous Tales, also a graphic novel. So inside there, there's an example of what that looks like. The Who Was books, What is the Declaration of Independence? There's the contents for that one. And then if you haven't seen those, it's a combination of pictures, writing, sometimes charts. It has a variety of different elements within the Who Was books. So then we have Who Was Alexander Hamilton? There's the contents for that, and it will be very similar to the Declaration of Independence one. And then we have the I Survived American Revolution book. And then this is a chapter book, but with a lot less writing in it than those other books that we're going to be doing for read alouds. And then the 3 books that we have for the Moving Beyond the Page curriculum. This is the American Revolution for Kids. This is a history with 21 activities. So this is going to be an activity book. There is information in here, but then there's also activities that we'll be doing. So here's an example of an activity that would be for this specific chapter. And so that's why I mentioned we might be doing things beyond just what's in the History Unboxed one. And then we have the New Americas. This is kind of like a picture book with some historical information. And the last one, Living in the Jamestown Colony. Let's look and see if that has any chapters. That one does not, but so that has a thing. Would you choose a this or that? So there are some color pictures, visuals, and then not as much writing on each page. All right, so that concludes our American Revolution unit study. So let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. If you can, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.